Loneliness is an epidemic these days. Maybe you would even say that you're lonely. Most people, though, are completely unaware that there's a trick that their own mind plays on them that could be contributing to their loneliness. I want to talk about what that mind trick is so that you can learn to catch it before it wreaks havoc on the relationships that you have now and the ones that you hope to have in the future. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This channel is about helping you navigate the people in your life by understanding why people, including yourself, are the way that we are. So what is this mind trick that can be so destructive to relationships? Well, let me try to explain it this way. I want you to imagine that you're meeting someone for the first time at, say, your favorite coffee shop, and they arrive late to meet you. Let's say it's as much as 15 minutes late. Without ever even giving it permission, your brain tags that person with a label to make sense of their behavior. So, for instance, you might label them as a person who doesn't respect other people's time. In psychology, they refer to this label as a heuristic, which is essentially a mental shortcut because our brains are designed for efficiency so that we can make decisions and react quickly, which is a tremendous gift in many areas of our life. Like, think about it. If every time you went to the grocery store, you had to read every label on every box of cereal before you could make a decision on which cereal to purchase, think about how slow and inefficient that would be. So our brain's been designed so that we can make quick calls and simplify decision-making, especially as it relates to repetitive decisions or repetitive patterns of behavior that we see in other people. And this is a great gift. However, in relationships, we tend to use this gift to flatten people into one-dimensional caricatures that oversimplify who they really are, which is problematic in and of itself, but that's not the only issue. That label that you give them can turn into what I call narrative lock-in. In other words, once we've labeled a person, our brain filters everything they do and everything they say through that label, whether it's actually true or not. And here's the really devastating part to relationship. Your reactions to that label, like let's say that you pull away from that person, or you snap at that person, or you shut down when you're around them. Those reactions can actually push the other person to act in ways that confirm that story. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not necessarily because they are the label that your brain has given them, but because we can get stuck in a narrative that we haven't questioned. And so sometimes it prevents us from starting a relationship because of our preconceived ideas, but it can also keep us from truly understanding the people in the relationships that we have ongoing in our lives. You see this a lot these days with people and their political affiliations. They pre-decide that a person who has a different opinion about politics or social issues is unworthy of a relationship with them, even going so far as to label them bad people without ever even getting to know them at all. But it's not just politics. I've seen this pattern play out in countless kinds of relationships, marriages and friendships and workplace relationships, including my own. The specific labels that we give people or the narrative that we build in our minds about them often goes back to our emotional blueprints. And by that, what I mean is that as you grew up, you developed, by observing the people around you, a set of expectations about how relationships work. So let's say that you grew up with a parent who was emotionally distant, for example. You might carry an unconscious expectation that people will always pull away from you. So when someone's quiet or distracted around you, your brain jumps to, here we go again. They don't care. Even though that may not be it at all. They might just be having a bad day, or they might be distracted by something else. The point is that your experiences in the past can cause you to mislabel people in the present. That's the mind trick that is so devastating to relationships. Now the question is, how do you learn to catch this mind trick before it does damage to your relationships? Well, next time you feel yourself reacting to someone, maybe you're getting defensive, maybe you're shutting down, pause and ask yourself, what label am I putting on this person and why am I putting that label on them? And then remind yourself, this person is more complex than the label I've given them. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand and think this is about ignoring chronic, toxic, hurtful patterns in people. And it's also not about giving a pass to people to walk all over you. It's about being generous and charitable enough to allow people to have the freedom to be more than just a one-dimensional label, and being humble enough to recognize that you might be mislabeling them because of your issues, not theirs. And this is sometimes how God works in our lives, to expand our world and to blow our categories. He brings people into our lives who may press our buttons at first, whom we may be quick to label, but eventually, if we stick with the relationship, learn that there's more to them than we ever imagined. It doesn't really take any special skill to appreciate people who are just like you. The least lonely people in the world are the people who are more curious about people than judgmental about them. I've never met a person I couldn't learn something from. From hardened criminals to lawyers, CEOs to cops, and children to geriatrics. You'll be surprised by how much your world opens up if you can learn to catch this mind trick that tends to distort people and keep you from connecting more deeply with them. Hey, do me a favor. If you've ever had someone completely surprise you, someone you had labeled who turned out to be far more complex than you originally thought, tell us about it in the comments, or you could just say yes or hit the like button, but it would be really encouraging in these highly polarized and lonely times to read those stories. Hit the like button if this video helped you. Feel free to send it to someone else if you think it could help them. And of course, subscribe. I'll be here with more to help you grow the relationships that matter the most to you. Grace and peace to you.